Jen here, and I have an off the board layout for you. So you can see my inspiration up in that top corner. That is a layout that I'm scrap lifting from Belinda Spencer, and I absolutely was just drawn to that gorgeous yellow. And as soon as I saw it, I remembered that in my How to Kill a Kit with Style kit for this month, I have the Poised collection from Authentique, and you can see here yellow is the prominent color in this collection. And yeah, it was just really super gorgeous. I thought it was a very striking layout, and then to have that accent color of the reds and pinks and stuff, just I loved it. I thought it was really pretty. So I will leave the links down below to my Pinterest boards and to this particular pin, so that if you want to go ahead and click on it, you can actually follow it to get more information about Belinda's original layout. She has a blog that that pin will take you to. So for my layout, I started by picking, ooh, that would have looked really nice too. Sorry, I got distracted by watching myself. Do you ever do that when you watch your videos back and you see that one of the decisions you were trying to make actually looked really good and it's not the one you went with? That's totally okay. I like the way this layout turned out, but that dark black would have looked really good as well. So I decided to pick the floral yellow pattern as my background, my main background here, because that is the paper that actually attracted me to this collection in the first place. It's definitely not my style. Yellow is not a color that I tend to gravitate towards, even though I think it is really pretty, but it's also very vintagey and old-fashioned, but I mean really, beautiful old-fashioned. I don't mean that as a negative thing, but you can see here when Storm knocked that piece of paper over that it has just these really kind of vintage, old-fashioned images and stuff like that. Aw, did you just hear that? That was Luna. She just yawned right beside me. So it's definitely a compliment. I just mean that it's not the kind of collection I would tend to go for, but those yellow flowers just really drew me in, and I thought they were beautiful. So I had two of that paper. I used one of them, and then I have just a couple other papers. And then there's that gingham paper or plaid paper that I used in my background, and then this other paper here that I'm using to mat my photo and create some layers behind my photos. So no embellishments or anything like that, and I really didn't have a plan for the papers. I just thought they were pretty, so I was waiting for the right moment, and when I saw that layout, I thought, this is it, the right moment. So I found a picture. I had to go hunting. I wasn't sure what picture to go with this. I did want something that was a selfie or a picture of me, and nothing was really kind of calling to me. And then I remembered this photo shoot that we did with my friend Tamara, who is a fantastic photographer, and it was a Mother's Day photo shoot. So I thought that worked out really good because I'm still using my May kit from How to Kill a Kit with Style, and May is Mother's Day, so everything just kind of fell into place. And the other pictures from this series have a lot of yellow in them, just in the budding trees and stuff like that in the backgrounds, and some of the little flowers and vegetation that you can see. And then Kaylin's top had yellow polka dots in it, so there was a lot of yellow in it. There's none in this particular photo, but yellow still seemed to work with the rest of the pictures, so I thought I would just go ahead and use it. And I also thought that bringing in the teal that you see in my earrings would kind of be that fun accent color. So instead of using the red and pinks that you see in the original layout, I'm going to go with more of the blues. And I couldn't find a ton of stuff that matched that exact blue, so I do bring in a few different shades of blue, which is always my trick. If you can't find something that matches exactly, just bring a whole bunch of different shades, and then it looks very purposeful and intentional. So you saw there, I pulled out a whole bunch of stuff. I have some of the papers here just to create more layers because there was tons of layers behind Belinda's photo. My photo's bigger than hers, so I felt like it wasn't going to look right with all the layers like she has. And I did also switch my layout. I flipped it on its side because I felt like my photo looked better going this way than up and down. I thought if I turned it so that it was up and down, you wouldn't see as much of that plaid like peeking out. So I turned it this way. And also, it's nice when you're scrap lifting to just add your extra little personal touches. So now I'm filling in a lot of those spaces. So I have a few pieces of chipboard, the 2 butterflies and that bigger chipboard that you just saw me tuck in there. Those are from the Georgia Blue collection from Prima. And they're more on the darker blue, but in that little piece, that little kind of rectangle piece, there are some flowers that match the blue in my earrings. So I thought that worked really good. And Belinda had butterflies in her layout, so I wanted to add some butterflies in there. And these little chipboard hearts come from Studio Calico. The little frame that you saw me put down is from the cut apart sheet, and then that little quote is actually written on the manufacturer's strip, I think on all of the pages from this collection, and I just thought it was a nice quote, so I threw that in there. And then the feathers came from Dollar Tree, and they had kind of those tones of yellow and then a little bit of that teal. And the feathers kind of, for me anyways, just because I have the feather earrings, and they kind of represent what the rest of the photo shoot was. There was this beautiful quilted teepee, and just there were lots of feathers and things. So it makes sense for me to throw some of those in there. And I have scrapbooked a few of the other photos from that photo shoot and put feathers on those. So this will just help it to tie in with the rest of the pictures. There are some puffy stickers from Pink Fresh Studio, and now I'm just going to go through this sticker book. It's the Maggie Holmes sticker book from American Crafts, and I'm going to pull out all of the blue and yellow, most of the blue and yellow. I don't pull out any flowers. At first, that's why I brought this sticker book out, because I knew there were yellow roses in there, but then I thought the background is completely yellow roses, and so I wanted to leave the space for other things like hearts and little sayings and stuff. So you can see I'm pulling out hearts and bows and just anything that's in the lighter shade of blue and the yellow. There's a couple different shades. There's like a mustardy yellow and then more of a bright yellow, and I'm mixing and matching those because, again, neither one truly matches the yellows in the Authentique collection, so it just looks very purposeful and kind of tricks your eye into thinking that it's intentional to have the different shades in there, and then none of them stand out more than any other as well. So then my other extra little touch here is that I'm going to add that little cluster up at the top as well. And honestly, I didn't intend to do that, but I really wanted to get that saying somewhere on the layout because I'm not going to put a title. And so it didn't fit in my little clusters on either side. I just couldn't make it look right. So I decided to throw it up at the top, and you know me, I like to do that kind of stuff. So I think it turns out nice, and I kind of like having that little extra cluster. I also did that extra little cluster up at the top of the photograph too. So it's definitely one of those layouts where I'm adding more instead of less. The other difference for me in my layout is I put all of my embellishments inside my little torn sections, and Belinda put her embellishing on the outside of her torn sections. So partly I did that on purpose. I just thought that is where everything was kind of fitting. But I also, once I kind of looked at her layout and got an idea of what I thought I wanted to do, then I stopped referring to it. And so I didn't consciously realize that I wasn't following kind of where she put stuff, which is totally okay. I think you have to do what looks right to your eye, and you have to kind of take the inspiration of the scrap lift, but then run with it so that it's your own style and your your layout. But I would really like to scrap lift this again and see if I can try to take that same inspiration piece and come up with something else that looks really, really pretty. So I think I've got most of the stuff out of these sticker books, and they're pretty much where I want them to go. I do end up completely redoing the cluster on the right hand side. You can see right there, it just was getting super busy, and I was trying to make sure that they were both balanced. So if I added something to the left hand side, I wanted to add something to the right hand side that was similar, or at least the same color or something like that. But obviously that right hand side is a little bit smaller, so it was starting to get really clustered. That's what it is, it's a cluster. But it was starting to get really crowded, and so I wanted to make sure that I took some time at the end to kind of pull it apart once all the elements were there and kind of fit them together a little bit nicer. So I've got lots of little hearts, and I threw in that little bunny because why not? It was springtime and the rabbits remind me of spring. And I've got some more butterflies, and then I also pulled out a whole bunch of enamel dots. So these little flowery ones match that blue really well, so I'm going to put those in a couple places. And then these stickers are glittery, and I just really wanted to bring in that different texture. The blue's not quite the same, but it's kind of just a fun little pop of a different colored blue, and it's very tiny. You can see not a lot of it is showing, but it's a little bit darker, and then that glitter is there, so it kind of helps your eye to travel around the layout. And I have few little word stickers in a yellow that I thought kind of matched pretty closely, so I got one of those on there, and then lots of yellow enamel dots. So there are some flat ones and some that are kind of almost see-through, and then some glittery ones. And here you can see. So I had everything basically put down, and I just didn't like the way that this section was looking, so I pulled it out, and I'm just going to kind of fiddle a little bit, make everything fit a little bit nicer, and just look like it's a little bit more thought through instead of just throwing stuff on there. I had covered up a lot of that chipboard, and I didn't intend to do that because that is what brings in my blue and kind of balances that big quote that I have on the left hand side. So I pulled that out from under the layers, and now I think it looks a little bit more balanced, and I like that you can see the colors a little bit better. And it also has that same sort of vintagey feel to it. It's like an old vintage advertisement, I think, for a farm, and we were actually on a farm, so that worked out really good. So I just wanted to make sure that that didn't get lost behind all of these little bits and pieces that I'm throwing in there. So eventually I get that all put back together, and I get little pop dots behind everything that needs pop dotting. And then my final touch is going to be just a sprinkle of some yellow Shimmers mist and some gold Heidi Swap Color Shine mist, and then a blue mist from Recollections, kind of like a light sky blue that also has a little bit of shimmer in it. And then that is it. That's my layout. Now, when I was getting ready to take the pictures for the end, the still shots, I realized that there are sequins in the original one, and I didn't put any sequins on here. So off camera, I added some beautiful yellow sequins from Spiegel Mom Scraps, and you'll see those in the still shots coming up. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Everyone who played along today has a link down below so you can go and see how they were inspired by their Pinterest boards. And of course, my Pinterest link and the links to all the stores that I shopped at, in case you love any of these products that I've used, you can go and check them out. Until next time, happy scrapping. Stay safe. Bye.